Are you going to Greece but do you have a difficulty choosing the right island to visit? You can't choose or you don't know which one is suitable? Let's fix that problem once and for all. I'm gonna discuss the best places in Greece for all of these purposes, including solo travel. And if after this video you still don't know where to go, there's 3 things you can do. 1. Check the playlist and the tagged videos below for more in-depth info and inspiration. Or take a look at my Ultimate Tourist Guide to Greece where I talk you through planning Greece trip and more step by step. Or book a call with me so you can get private advice from me based on your preferences. Now let's start. If you want to go to a Greek island and you are a sucker for green and nature, you have to go to the Ionian Islands, the Sporades, the North Aegean Islands, or to Andros. I'll show you the difference. This, for instance, is Paros in the Kyklades. It has beautiful waters, but dry as you can see. The Ionian Islands, they are full of trees. You can clearly see the difference. Also Chalkidiki, the Sporades Islands, the North Aegean Islands are full of green. In case you don't know which islands those are, it's like Corfu, Zakynthos, Kefalonia, Skiathos, Skopelos, Samos, Tassos, many to choose from. If you are looking for those white houses, the poster image of Greece, you have to go to the Kykladic Islands, where you will find more of these alleys. This is the group of Mykonos, Santorini, Paros, Milos, Naxos, and smaller islands. And to show you how different it can be from other parts of Greece, this is Parga on the mainland. Any other Greek places and islands have a totally different style. They have no white houses, more colorful Italian or neoclassical style. Those are also the places with amazing cities. Rhodes has a medieval city, Syros, neoclassical town. Crete has multiple Venetian Ottoman cities, and Corfu has like a full Venetian Italian town. Then the family-friendly destinations, which I consider islands that have sandy beaches, long sandy beaches with shallow waters that children can play at and swim in. Islands with nice activities for kids, such as petting zoos, or with fully equipped resorts, for instance slides or an aqua park. This is present in all the larger islands that receive charter flights from all over Europe, such as Corfu, Kos, Zakynthos, Crete, Rhodes. But within the Kyklades, Naxos is a very family-friendly island as well. Peloponnese and Chalkidiki also have everything that you could wish for. And islands for couples, you can make it as romantic as you want everywhere in Greece. But Milos, Lefkada and Santorini are 3 islands that stood out to me as a perfect couple destination. Lefkada has amazing waters and beautiful sunset bar and restaurants, so if you have an infinity pool there, truly gorgeous. Of course, Santorini, the cliffside on the caldera, if you have an accommodation there, it is super romantic. The views, the sunset views, it's unique. And Milos, because it is so picturesque, it's nice for a couple that likes exploring, but it's still laid back, no real nightlife. Very nice if you want to hop on a boat or on a vehicle, exploring the island together without big mass tourism. If you like walking and hiking, there are so many islands full of amazing trails, but Crete kind of stands out because it has so many long gorges. It's the Kourtaliotico Gorge, where you can walk to a waterfall in Crete. It's not really a hike, but you can also walk 8 to 16 kilometers through the Samaria or the Imbros Gorge. And you know, Crete just has it all. It is the best all-around destination. But I urge you not to overlook the mainland and the Peloponnese, because the mainland of Greece has the real mountains. Look for instance into the Zagori, which is stunning. Greece is not the most famous wind and kite surfing spot on earth, but on these islands there are some beaches that are windy almost all the time. So if you want to combine Greece and wind or kite surfing, choose one of these. Now nightlife. Basically every island, even if it's super tiny, has a cocktail bar or 2. But if you are looking for real party, there's only a couple of islands that offer this, and they have their differences. For instance, Mykonos and Paros are the most upscale destinations, more for the 25 to 40-year-old crowd, whereas Corfu, Kos, Rhodes and Crete, and also Zakynthos, they receive a lot of European youngsters, so like 18 or 16 to 25, from the beginning of the summer through August, that are coming for an organized group party holiday or just a group of friends that booked the trip themselves. Corfu, we're speaking about Kavos in the south, and in the middle of the island, Gouvia, Dacia and Ipsos in the North Sidari. Rhodes, for instance, a town in Faliraki. In Crete, we have the Dutch people in Chersonissos, and we have the English in Malia and Stalis. And in Zakynthos, we have everybody gathered in Laganas. Chios receives a lot of Australian youngsters. Very important, of course, the foodie islands, Naxos, the Peloponnese, and the south of Crete. They produce a lot of stuff themselves, so that's why they have a very good local authentic cuisine. Syros, it isn't known as a foodie island, but it totally surprised me. In the town you could find such cheap, such delicious food, so I have to include it here. Paros at the moment is like a better version of Mykonos, where you can do delicious fine dining for a third or a fourth of the price from, in this case, the Netherlands. I recommend it if you want to go to a fancy restaurant every night but not break the bank completely. I included Corfu as well because it's highly influenced by the Venetians, which means it has its own type of dishes. Pastizzada, sofrito. And a lot of locals live there all year round, so there are many villages with authentic local tavernas that serve this food in a delicious way. Sifnos is another Cycladic foodie island. The first Greek cookbook was written there about 100 years ago, and they still apply the traditional methods of cooking. And guys, I'm not a member of the LGBT plus community, so I'm not an expert on this, but the two islands that I have been to where I felt it was the most gay friendly because there was some kind of gay scene that were Mykonos and Skiathos, and those are also the two islands where I found a gay club, Jackie O. Then I already highlighted the islands with an amazing Venetian or neoclassical town. Of course, those can also be considered the most cosmopolitan destinations, but apart from that, we have two smaller islands, Idra and Spetses, which are very close to Athens, that also have a very cosmopolitan vibe because they have a cosmopolitan little town. If you want to visit as many ancient ruins as possible, you have to combine Athens with the mainland and the Peloponnese. You don't even have to go to an island, you can just make a fantastic road trip and see the best ruins in Greece. But if you want to go to an island a bit further away from Athens and see ruins, I would suggest Naxos. Has multiple interesting temples, remains of statues, monasteries, and amazing beaches. Then in Crete, of course, they had the Minoan civilization, so you have the palace of Knossos there and another Minoan palace. But Crete is also full of interesting churches, monasteries. As I said before, it is the best all-round destination. And in Rhodes, which has a medieval city, which is interesting, there's an ancient running track, old Italian buildings from the time of Mussolini, ancient remains, ruins of castles, also lots to see there. The places that I felt furthest away from mass tourism, while still being in a place that had enough to do, were the islands of Kythera, Pathmos, and southern Crete, especially before or after the peak of the season. Aegina really surprised me because it's an island so close to Athens, but it still has totally local Greek architecture and feeling, and also a lot of historical remains, cultural significance, and they produce their own famous pistachio. Koufonisha is like the small Maldives of the Cyclades. Just so nice to relax there for a day or two, three, because there are not many buildings around. Last but not least, solo travel. The rule of thumb is it is safe for solo travel everywhere in Greece. You will have no problems with that, especially not on the islands. So in that respect, you can go to whatever Greek island you want solo. I think you should go to an island that, based on the previous list, you would like to see. I think when you made that choice, it is more about what type of accommodation are you going to choose. Do you want to make friends or not? Are you fine on your own? If you are backpacking and you would be looking for friends, you could, for instance, start in a hostel in Athens, not book anything else, and just like we do that in Asia, we see who we meet, we see where they are going, and we see if we want to join. And that way we find a travel company. On the islands with bigger cities, there are hostels as well. This is in Crete, Corfu, Mykonos, Santorini. You can also go to a hostel there and meet people. If you are past the staying in hostel stage, I would recommend getting a small-scale accommodation with, for instance, a common garden or a pool where you can start a conversation with people. Plus, if it's a small-scale accommodation, you will know the owner by name. They are mostly locals. They are very good company as well. And the more local you go, the easier it is to just sit in a cafe, start a conversation with locals, and make local friends. Greeks love this. So as a solo traveler, choose a location based on your interests and choose an accommodation that also fits your needs. Or start out from a hostel in Athens or another city. I hope this info was useful and follow me for more Greece travel tips.